अस्तु सर्वेभ्यः नमस्काराः। अद्य वयं भजगोविन्दम् अन्यथा मोहमुद्गरम् इति ग्रन्थस्य चर्चां कुर्मः. We shall be looking at very important, very popular text called the Bhajagovindam, also known as the Mohamudgaram. Of course, this has been recorded on Krishna Janmashtami 2025. So we are hoping that there is ambience in the universe which is facilitating this to happen. आगतेभ्यः सर्वेभ्योऽपि छात्रेभ्यः अतिथिभ्यः च स्वागतं व्याहृत्य अग्रे सराम. Now this will be a one-off session. If the response is good and maybe if I have the inspiration, I may do a few more classes too. Please do ask any questions. Stop me in between and do shoot your questions out. The plan for today is to explain through the verses of the Bhaja Govindam, first with pronunciation and secondly with the meanings. अतीव सुलभ संस्कृतेन वर्तते. आदिशंकराचार्याः भगवत्पादाः एतत् ग्रन्थम् उपकरणग्रन्थम् उपकारकम् एव रचयन्. It's really useful to all people who are just beginning out, both in their spiritual as well as Samskrta journeys, because Sanskritam is a very nice language to learn and very simple, very lucid language is used even in this stotram too. Of course, it does not take away from the profundity of the message which is conveyed here. Let's now progress into the discussions. Bhajagovindam iti grantha आदिशंकराचार्येण एव रचितं. केचन वदन्ति यत् आदिशंकराचार्याः आदिमं दशमं वा द्वादशं श्लोकम् अरचयन् इतरान् श्लोकान् तस्य शिष्यवर्गः अरचयत् इति. किमपि वा भवतु, किन्तु यः उपदेशः विद्यते सः उपदेशः तु केनचित् गुरुणा एव दत्तम् इति स्वीकृत्य वयम् अग्रे सराम. Bhaja Govindam by Swami Chinmayananda is also another very popular book with Swami Chinmayananda's translations as well as commentaries upon the original work of Adi Shankaracharya. So if for those interested, you can go through this book to very useful, a very key guide to people regardless of their sectarian backgrounds. यस्मात् संप्रदायाद् वा भवतु तथापि एषः ग्रन्थः तु सर्वेषाम् उपकाराय एव लभ्यते. एषः ग्रन्थः मोहमुद्गरम् इत्यपि कथितः. किमर्थं मोहमुद्गरं नाम मोहः इति कन्फ्यूजन्, मुद्गरम् इति तस्य हैमरिंग टूल अस्ति. So it's hammering out the illusions, the confusions that we have from our day-to-day life. We live in a mundane, we live in mundanity, absolutely lacking profundity in our day-to-day lives. And so, this mundanity, this mediocrity in our lives, however extraordinary our skills, position, status, etc. are, or however too ordinary they seem to be, too boring they seem to be, it's all still in the purview of what is called as the Vyavaharika Satta or Samsaraha, to be short. This samsara has again a very interesting derivation. Samsaraha, samsarati iti samsaraha. That which flows in too many tributaries and branches is called samsara. So there's a lot of confusion. There are a lot of interlocuting places. The river is branches off just like in a delta. Towards the end of a delta, towards the mouth of the river, it goes into a lot of tributaries. So one fundamental essence has branched off into many different sophisticated pathways, very circuitous, and this exactly is what samsara is. We are living in this confusion. And if you feel you are not living in a confusion, and then of course you are either not you, but rather should I am either less qualified to not have even realized that we are living in a confusion, or truly I don't have any confusion, which means this is not the time and place for me to be, because if I don't have any confusion, then the point is already achieved. There's already a kritakrityata. So this is for people who feel they have confusion, who feel they are in a rut of life. So this is the eligibility. Apart from this, anybody from whatever background, केनचिदपि सम्प्रदायेन कयाचिदपि परम्परया वा भवतु सः एषः एतं ग्रन्थं उपकुर्यात् एतं ग्रन्थं च अवश्यं पठेत् इत्येव ममापि प्रार्थना अस्ति. Now, just because it is a Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, it does not sectarianize this sect as a Vaishnavite text. Though, of course, the Vaishnava Sampradaya does quote immensely and very often from this text. But the only place you would actually call this a Vaishnavite text is only in the title, Bhaja Govindam, because the rest of the verses are all a collection of, as today we would call, quotes, motivational quotes, and realities of life revealed to us, and then capsulated with Nama Sankirtana, with Bhaja Govindam, because it's really sweet. And just as a baby would not drink a syrup by itself, you would add some flavors, add some sugar, honey, etc., and make it more palatable. So that is the entire purpose, I view, of why this seemingly Vaishnavite text is very popularly referred to as Bhaja Govindam. Astu. What is the context of this Bhaja Govindam? Etad Bhaja Govindam stotram आदिशङ्कराचार्येण एव रचितं. तदपि एकस्मिन् छन्दसि पादालुकं नाम छन्दसि वर्तते. एतत् पादालुकं छन्दः अष्ट, it has ashta dirgha matras. Dirgha matras, if you know, are in Samskritam that which have a long syllable is called a dirgha matra, and it typically has 8 dirgha matras in all in the chandas. Or you can say there are 16, it's made up of 16 short syllabled verses, quartet. The context of this is काश्याम एकदा कश्चन वैयाकरणः आसीत्. सः अतीव वृद्धः आसीत्. वार्धक्ये सः तस्य शिरः अधःकृत्य एवं तस्य शिरः अधः कृत्य व्याकरणसूत्राणि पठन् आसीत्. किं व्याकरणसूत्रं? पाणिनेः धातुपाठः इति अस्ति. Panini has written a grantha called as Dhatupad. It's a collection of all the stems, all the roots of Samskrita Vyakarana. For example, we say Bhavati. It comes from a dhatu called Bhu. Bhu Sattayam is the very first sutram, so to speak, of this Dhatupata. And so it comprises all the verbs, the roots of these verbs, in fact, also Namapadas, and their meanings. So Dukrum comes towards the end of the 8th Gana. So this entire text has 10 Ganas, 10 groups. Ashtame Gane Tanadi Ganaha iti asti. Tatra Dukring Karane. So there's a dhatu called Dukring. And that was incidentally where he was reading while Adi Shankaracharya sa shishyaha तत्र काश्याम् एकं कुटीरं एकस्य कुटीरस्य समीपे आगच्छन्. तदा एषः डुक्कृङ् करणे डुक्कृङ् करणे डुक्कृङ् करणे इत्येवं कण्ठस्थीकरणं कुर्वन् आसीत्. सः वृद्धः अस्ति. सः योगासने शिरासने उपविष्टः तथा वार्धक्ये वर्तते. सः इदानीम् एतानि सूत्राणि कण्ठस्थीकरणं कुर्वन् अस्ति. एतद् विलोक्य आदिशङ्कराचार्याः अतीव करुणापूरया दृष्ट्या ते एतं तर्जयन् इव as though he is sarcastically scolding or rebuking him, किन्तु तथापि करुणा दृष्ट्या एव एतत् ग्रन्थम् अरचयन्. It's a spontaneous outburst of both compassion as well as sarcasm on the ways of mundane life. अत्र एषः ग्रन्थः व्याकरणविरुद्धं नास्ति. It is not opposed to व्याकरण. It's not opposed to the study also of व्याकरण. एतत् ग्रन्थं संस्कृतेन एव निबद्धं. तर्हि व्याकरणविरुद्धं तु न भवितुं शक्यते एव. किन्तु अन्ते काले सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले यदा वयं तथापि तदापि संसारस्य वृत्तावेव भवामः, तस्य खण्डनं तस्य तर्जनम् अत्र भवति. So that is what Adi Shankaracharya was commenting about, was sarcastically remarking about when he first composed this verse. Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Rakshati, Dukrin Karane. Idrisham Dukrin Karane iti Punaf Pathanam, this repetition, this by hearting as it is called popularly, colloquially, is not going to save us. Nahi Rakshati. कदा संप्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले, यदा कालः अर्थात यमः अथवा मृत्युः सन्निहितः अस्ति, अतीव निकटे आगतः अस्ति, यदा वयमेव मृत्युं प्रति गच्छामः स्मः, संप्राप्ते, as we are moving closer and closer towards our deaths, संप्राप्ते अथवा सन्निहिते काले, or if Yama has himself come like he did in case of Markandeya, with whatever our age actually may be. It may not literally be that we are going to die only after 60. वयमेव मृत्युं गच्छामः अथवा मृत्युरेव अस्मान् संयाति. द्वावपि उभावपि सन्दर्भौ अस्माकं जीवहरणाय प्राणहरणाय भवति, whether through accidents, diseases, death or old age. तथा यदा कालः एव, यदा मृत्युः, यदा शिवः एव सन्निहितः अस्ति, तर्हि ईदृशं सांसारिकं वृत्तिं अनुचर्य अस्माकं प्राणहरणस्य विरोधता बाधता न भवति इत्येव तेषाम् अभिप्रायः अस्ति. अतः किं वदति, ते उपदिशन्ति, गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं भज, हे मूढमते, यस्य मतिः मूढा, whose intellect has been or whose mind has been clouded, मूढ़ा मतिः यस्य सः, मूढ़ा मतिः यस्य सः, बहुव्रीहि समासः, यस्य, whose matihi mudha, whose mind and intellect have been clouded with confusion, has been confused, is in the wrong place, has stuck to wrong, anchored on wrong things, on not appropriate things, सह मूढ़मतिः तम उपदिशति संबोधयति, हे मूढ़मते इति. And through this example of a Vaiyakarana, he is addressing all of us who are also in a similar state of confusion. Mudhamate samprapte sannihite kale nahi rakshati dukrin karane. Dukrin karane ityadi samsarikam vrittim. Now this is an allegory. It's just used to, or rather it is called a synecdoche in English. That is using an example of one thing to represent a more abstract, more broader concept and idea. So Dukkrun Karane is just a symbol for all samsarikim vrittim anucharan. Astu. Idanim etam sandarbham तस्य भजगोविन्दम् इति स्तोत्रस्य अन्तिमश्लोक एव वदति एषः सन्दर्भः कः आसीदिति. प्लीज बी ऑन म्यूट unless there is a question. मूढः कश्चन वैयाकरणो दुःखं करणाध्ययनधुरीणः श्रीमच्छंकर भगवत् शिष्यैर्बोधित आसीत् बोधितकरणः। अत्र कश्चन सं वैयाकरणः, व्याकरण इच्छुकः, मूढः, सम फूलिश वैयाकरण, डुक्कृङ्करण अध्ययन धुरीणः, धुरीण इज एंगेज्ड, डुक्कृङ्करण, डुक्कृङ्करणे इति सूत्रे अध्ययन धुरीणः, as he was practicing this sutra, श्रीमत् शंकर भगवत शिष्यैः, श्रीमत् शंकर भगवत पाद अथवा भगवत शिष्यैः, he is as he is called भगवत पाद, and his shishyas, with all of his shishyas, सः बोधित आसीत्, he was advised, he was lovingly advised, and also sometimes, I mean, he did, this is a collection of very brutal truths, so it may have irked him. Bodhita asit, shodhita karanaha. Bodhita asit, shodhita karanaha. Tasya karanaha, tasya antarangaha, shodhitaha, it was purified. His manas was now bereft of, ultimately was bereft of confusion. This is the setting. Astu. Idanim, Esha Chandaha. So how do we classify this chandas? It is called Padalokam. It's a matra chandas. Means here there is no ganana of how many laghus and how many gurus, but how many matras, how many long syllables in all. Matra chandaha. Eka matram dvimatram itiva. Mu is one dirgha. Dhah dirgha. Kash. Chana becomes one because there are two short syllables becomes one. Vaya is one and another one, and kara is one, and naha. So altogether 8 long syllables. Mudha kash chana vaya kara naha. Duh kring kara na yaya nadhu ri naha. Shri mat shang kara bhaga vach छिश यई बोधित आसीच शोधित कर नह. So in each pada there are ashta dirgha matras, and this is the pada chandas, the meter of this stotra. Why is it important? Because one is beauty of it, one is the rhythm of the chanda of the chandas, which will help us set it very beautifully into a musical song, most popularized by M.S. Subbulakshmi and later on through other singers as well. And to be able to collect the right words and frame it into a poem, and just imagine this was sahajam, this was spontaneous, it was an impromptu poem with exactly 8 dirgha matras. It is an achievement in itself, it's a craft in itself. And then, of course, the message is more profound than this. Astu. Idanim sandarbham jnatva vayam bhajagovindasya shlokan sakrit pathamah. Pathananantaram sarveshamapi shlokanam श्लोकशः पदशः अर्थं चर्चयामः. मूढजहीहि धनागमतृष्णां कुरु सद्बुद्धिं मनसि वितृष्णां यल्लभसे निजकर्मोपात्तं वित्तं तेन विनोदय चित्तम्. नारीस्तनभरनाभिदेशं दृष्ट्वा मागामोहावेशम् एतन्मांसवसादिविकारं मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारम्. नलिनीदलगतजलमतितरलं तद्वज्जीवितमतिशयचपलम् विद्धिव्याध्यभिमानग्रस्तं लोकं शोकहतं च समस्तम्. यावद्वित्तोपार्जनसक्तः तावन्निजपरिवारो रक्तः पश्चाज्जीवति जर्जरदेहे वार्तां कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे यावत् पवनो निवसति देहे तावत् पृच्छति कुशलं गेहे गतवति वायौ देहापाये भार्या बिभ्यति तस्मिन् काये बालस्तावत् क्रीडासक्तः तरुणस्तावत् तरुणीसक्तः वृद्धस्तावच्चिन्तासक्तः परमे ब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न सक्तः काते कान्ता कस्ते पुत्रः संसारोऽयमतीव विचित्रः कस्य त्वं कः कुत आयातः तत्त्वं चिन्तय तदिह भ्रातः सत्सङ्गत्वे निस्सङ्गत्वं निस्सङ्गत्वे निर्मोहत्वं निर्मोहत्वे निश्चलतत्त्वं निश्चलतत्त्वे जीवन्मुक्तिः वयसि गते कः कामविकारः शुष्के नीरे कः कासारः क्षीणे वित्ते कः परिवारः ज्ञाते तत्त्वे कः संसारः मा कुरु धनजनयौवनगर्वं हरति निमेषात् कालः सर्वम् मायामयमिदमखिलं हित्वा ब्रह्मपदं त्वं प्रविश विदित्वा दिनयामिन्यौ सायं प्रातः शिशिरवसन्तौ पुनरायातः कालः क्रीडति गच्छत्यायुः तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशा वायुः काते कान्ता धनगतचिन्ता वातुल किं तव नास्ति नियन्ता त्रिजगति सज्जनसङ्गतिरेका भवति भवार्णवतरणे नौका द्वादशमञ्जरिकाभिरशेषः कथितो वैयाकरणस्यैषः उपदेशो भूद् विद्यानिपुणैः श्रीमच्छङ्कर भगवच्चरणैः जटिलो मुण्डीलुञ्छितकेशः काषायाम्बर बहुकृतवेषः पश्यन्नपि च न पश्यति मूढः उदरनिमित्तं बहुकृतवेषः अङ्गं गलितं पलितं मुण्डं दशनविहीनं जातं तुण्डं वृद्धो याति गृहीत्वा दण्डं तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशा पिण्डम् अग्रे वह्निः पृष्ठे भानुः रात्रौ चुबुकसमर्पितजानुः करतलभिक्षस्तरुतलवासः तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशा पाशः कुरुते गङ्गासागरगमनं व्रतपरिपालनम् अथवा दानम् ज्ञानविहीनः सर्वमतेन भजति न मुक्तिं जन्मशतेन सुरमन्दिरतरुमूलनिवासः शय्या भूतलमजिनं वासः सर्वपरिग्रहभोगत्यागः कस्य सुखं न करोति विरागः योगरतो वा भोगरतो वा सङ्गरतो वा सङ्गविहीनः यस्य ब्रह्मणि रमते चित्तं नन्दति नन्दति नन्दत्येव भगवद्गीता किञ्चिदधीता गङ्गाजललवकणिका पीता सकृदपि येन मुरारिसमर्चा क्रियते तस्य यमेन न चर्चा पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणं पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनम् इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे कृपया पारे पाहि मुरारे रथ्याचर्पटविरचितकण्ठः पुण्या पुण्यविवर्जितपन्थः योगी योगनियोजितचित्तः रमते बालोन्मत्तवदेव कस्त्वं कोऽहं कुत आयातः कामे जननी को मे तातः इति परिभावय सर्वमसारं विश्वं त्यक्त्वा स्वप्नविचारम् त्वयि मयि चान्यत्रैको विष्णुः व्यर्थं कुप्यसि मय्यसहिष्णुः भवसमचित्तः सर्वत्र त्वं वाञ्छस्य चिराद् यदि विष्णुत्वम् शत्रौ मित्रे पुत्रे बन्धौ मा कुरु यत्नं विग्रहसन्धौ सर्वस्मिन्नपि पश्यात्मानं सर्वत्रोत्सृज भेदज्ञानम् कामं क्रोधं लोभं मोहं त्यक्त्वात्मानं पश्यति सोऽहम् आत्मज्ञानविहीना मूढास्ते पच्यन्ते नरकनिगूढाः गेयं गीता नाम सहस्रं ध्येयं श्रीपतिरूपमजस्रम् नेयं सज्जनसङ्गे चित्तं देयं दीनजनाय च वित्तम् सुखतः क्रियते कामाभोगः पश्चाद्धन्तशरीरे रोगः यद्यपि लोके मरणं शरणं तदपि न मुञ्चति पापाचरणम् अर्थमनर्थं भावय नित्यं नास्ति ततः सुखलेशः सत्यम् पुत्रादपि धनभाजां भीतिः सर्वत्रैषा विहिता रीतिः प्राणायामं प्रत्याहारं नित्यानित्यविवेकविचारम् जाप्यसमेतसमाधिविधानं कुर्ववधानं महदवधानम् गुरुचरणाम्बुजनिर्भरभक्तः संसारात् अचिरात् भवमुक्तः सेन्द्रियमानसनियमादेवं द्रक्ष्यसि निजहृदयस्थं देवम् गुरुचरणाम्बुजनिर्भरभक्तः संसारात् अचिरात् भवमुक्तः सेन्द्रियमानसनियमादेवं द्रक्ष्यसि निजहृदयस्थं देवम् भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि रक्षति डुक्कृङ्करणे भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि रक्षति डुक्कृङ्करणे नहि रक्षति डुक्कृङ्करणे नामस्मरणादन्योपायं नहि पश्यामो भवतरणे भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि रक्षति डुक्कृङ्करणे। अस्तु, एष आसीत् श्लोकगुच्छः। अधुना श्लोकशः वयम् अर्थान् चर्चयित्वा गच्छामः। यदि कश्चनापि तस्य स्वीयम् अभिप्रायम् अभिव्यक्तुम् इच्छति तर्हि अन्म्यूट् कृत्वा प्रष्टुं शक्यते, वक्तुमपि शक्यते। कृपया सर्वे अपि सावधानं शृण्वन्तु। सर्वमपि स्वस्य मनसि एव ध्यायमानाः, अर्थान् ध्यायमानाः, श्रीपतिरूपम् अर्थात् भगवत् स्वरूपं ध्यायमानाः भवन्तु। सर्वस्यापि श्लोकस्य स्वीये जीवने एव कश्चन अर्थः भवति। वयं सर्वेपि प्रायः 12 वर्षान् वा 12 वर्षाणि, 20 वर्षाणि, 50 वर्षाणि अथवा 60 वर्षाणि, 90 वर्षाण्यपि वा जीवितवन्तः स्मः। अधुना सर्वमपि अनुभवसम्पत्तिं दृष्ट्वा अस्मज्जीवने एव एष सन्दर्भः आसीद्वा, अस्मिन् सन्दर्भे अहं किं कृतवान् इति स्वयमेव अध्ययनं कुर्मः। द रियल मीनिंग ऑफ स्वाध्याय, as was told in the Taittiriya Upanishad, is Swadhyayānma Pramadah. Do not ever go astray from Swadhyaya. Here, the Adhyayana of the self, the analysis of one's own behavior, of one's own past life experiences. And here by past life, I don't mean for another lifetime, but of our own life, all our memories put together, if we were to analyze without any judgment of any emotion of either of ourselves or of the other person, whoever it was. If we are to look at it from an objective, non-biased perspective, like as a third person experience, then that is called as Swadhyaya. And then Swadhyaya and then Pravachana. Pravachana is expression of the purport of this analysis. So after an analysis, we prepare a report, do we not? Let's say of a biological test, of a chemical test, we perform it. And after this analysis, we produce a report of what is the level of sugar in this blood, what is the amount of urea, creatinine and all that. So similarly, we perform this test as unbiasedly as possible without any preconceptions, analyze our own lives, and then we come up with a report. This is who I am and this is what I've been doing. And this is where I want to go, and these are my desires, A, B, C, D, E. And these have been my experiences. I have been wrong in this way, I have been wrong in this way, I wronged the other person in this such manner, I hurt this other person, etc. So it's a report, as you would produce an evidence before the court. So with that report, we do a pravachana. So we understand this report, and then if necessary, we make certain modifications. Otherwise, we are who we are, and then we express ourselves, which is what is the true meaning of pravachana. Here, vachana does not literally mean to speak. Here, pravachana is the complete expression of one's personality after having done this analysis. So, analysis and then synthesis. First, you break things down, analyze, glue it all together in the right place, arrange the jigsaw, solve the puzzle, and then you are now showcasing it to the world after this puzzle has been solved. So this is what Swadhyaya Pravachana has been recommended in our most profound of Upanishads. So this entire document is an aid in analysis. It is giving so many pointers. This entire 30 to 32 verses are giving pointers, and they are very harsh sometimes. They are making us think. And please, in all of these verses, let us never deviate from the actual topic and think it is just being advised or reprimanded to another third person who lived some 1200 years ago, and it doesn't concern me. It is not so. Mudhamate every time is a direct point to ourselves. The guru is whoever you may consider to be your guru. Visualize him and put all these words in his mouth and his or her mouth, and then think that this guru, or this guru principle rather, if you don't believe in any particular personal guru, this guru principle is calling and waking us up by calling us mudhamate, O man or woman of confused intellect, of confused priorities, wake up and see what is going on with your life. So this is an aid to analysis. And then how do we synthesize? What do we do as a first step of expression? It is Bhaja Govindam. So uh, we synthesize after all this analysis by taking refuge in that. Govinda here is again an allegory. It's, if you are from a different parampara, you can substitute that word with your Ishta Devata. And then if you don't believe in any Ishta Devata too, if you do believe in some abstract reality, abstract power, then that is what you would believe in, take a refuge in. So bhaja means to receive. It literally comes from the dhatu bhaja, means to receive. Bhajate, one who receives. That is why bhakti is the method of actually receiving. Its literal meaning is to receive. And bhajana is the process of making ourselves receptible, of making ourselves uh, compatible and opening our hearts and minds to a greater possibility. That is what bhajana in its true essence would be. So Govindam Bhaja, let's open our hearts to, and by the way, if I seem to be pontificating, it is not so. I may sometimes out of force habit use the word you as though I am giving the Upadesha. It is not so. I am speaking to myself in all of this. And so I am in myself no position to advise any other person. So do pardon if it flows out spontaneously. So it's saying, oh Sudarshan, listen, what you're doing is you're doing all this rutty, running the race like a hamster in a wheel. You're running it continuously towards your death. So it will not save us. Nahi nahi rakshati. It will not save me. Dukran karane or any of this laukiki vritti is not going to save you. What is going to save you? He will explain in all of these following verses. Samprapte sannihite kale. As you see Yama coming with his Pasha and Ankusha towards you, inching every day, every second closer to you, I am behaving as though there is no death at all to me. I will see people dying, I will attend others' relatives' funerals, but it will never strike to my mind that, yeah, I will also die someday. And it can be the next moment also. I mean, as I am just recording this, maybe I may suffer a heart attack and die right this moment. So I am living with such certainty in my life that uh, I have time and privilege for mundanity like Dukrum Karane. But he is saying, wake up, it is definitely not certain as you may think, though you may have insured your life, insured your medical health, insured your job through a secure job, or insured your social network through friends, relatives, whatever it may be. You actually are living in a delusion of security and of certainty, while it is not really the case. As we see, samprapte sannihite kale. You will see soon that Yama is going to come to you. This is the opening verse. With such a powerful verse, perhaps it may seem very morbid at first. When people actually sing this thinking it is some bhajana of Govinda, it is actually not. All these verses are such wake-up calls to us. Uh, yes, we can use this as a bhajana for Krishna, but more than the personality, it is the words which matter, at least personally to me. So let's look at this uh, wealth of wisdom. द्वितीयः श्लोकः मूढजहीहि धनागमतृष्णां कुरु सद्बुद्धिं मनसि वितृष्णां यल्लभसे निजकर्मोपात्तं वित्तं तेन विनोदय चित्तम्. प्रथमः श्लोकः कर्मयोगस्य. कर्मयोग, this first shloka deals with karma yoga itself. If you see the Bhagavad Gita also, the third chapter, the first chapter is all about Arjuna weeping and explaining how we would also be in our lives weeping, and then only we would come to Bhagavad Gita. And after that, the second chapter is a summary of all the different yogas. The third chapter, which is where the elucidation of all the yogas begin, is first starts with karma yoga. So what are we to do externally? That is karma yoga. Mudha, hey Mudha, O fooled Sudarshan, leave this jahihi tyaja, त्यजतु, give up, jahihi kim dhanagama trishnam jahihi. तृष्णा अर्थः थर्स्ट, तृष्णाम अर्थात कामनाम वांछा, कस्य कामनाम, धनागम कामनाम जहीहि. Please do not hanker after money. I mean, this is so relevant to me. Dhanagama trishnam jahihi. Agama is to come. That is the thirst for acquiring more wealth. Dhanasya agamasya trishnam jahihi. Tari kim kuriyam? Okay, I will give up the desire, give up all my ambitions. Then Sadbuddhim kuru vitrishnaam manasi. Vitrishnaam sadbuddhim manasi kuru. So he is saying, I should have, manasi in my mind, vitrishnam sadbuddhim kuru. I should wake up. Sadbuddhim is I should wake up to Sat is reality. It also just means have a proper cleaned intellect where I know and look at things how they are. I'm aware of things how they are. And even if I'm aware, I can still be desireful. I can still be lustful, right? So just as Duryodhana actually said, Janami dharmam adharmam cha. But still I will, I have no pravritti in dharma. I will still do pravritti only in adharma. So there are two things. One, first of all, the jnana, the viveka of sadbuddhi. And secondly, vitrishnam. I should have no thirst for material cravings. Vitrishnam, vigatam trishnam kuru. Then what about my survival? Mama yogakshemasya kim? Tarhi, he says, yat labhase nija karma upattam tena tava chittam vittam vinodaya iti. Vinodaya means please your mind. Vinodaya is entertain your mind. Chittam vinodaya. So how do I entertain my mind? Because it should survive, right? It should live. Mama chittam vinodaya katham vittam. I will need vitta for it. I need wealth for it. But what kind of wealth? Nija karma upattam vittam. Whatever I get through my own actual disciplined work. Nija karma upattam vittam. Upattam is something which is attained, which comes through nija karma. So be it through salary or freelancing, business, whatever the case is, royalties, whatever. But whatever comes as a result of nija karma, of doing a karma from myself, by myself, nija karma. And another meaning, atra swabhava karma ityapi vaktum shakyate. Nija karma, nija means swasya. Whatever is suitable, is compatible to ourselves. Swasya swagunasya swadharmasya karma yat kriyate. At that point, we are completely in this, what we call as the flow. A musician, if he's very passionate about music, he or she, they go into this flow mode, this flux for 2 or 3 hours when they are with their musical instruments. They don't care about the fees or the location, what people are praising, etc. So that is the flow state, because the karma, which is the playing of the music, is inspired by swadharma, the personality and compatibility. There's a complete compatibility. In such a case, which is very hard to come by, but if we do have the dhairya to choose our karma based on our swadharma, then manaha vinuddaha bhavati. It will be vinunnam bhavati. Our mind will be pleased. Chittam vinunnam bhavati. अपि च अस्माकं वित्तमपि किञ्चित् यावद् आवश्यकं तावद् वित्तमपि लभ्यते. यत् लभसे निजकर्म उपात्तं तेन चित्तं विनोदय त्वं. You be happy, be pleased, be content. Triptam bhavatu. Be happy, be content with whatever you get as a result of nija karma, of swasya karma, swadharma niyatam karma. स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. स्वे स्वे कर्मण्यभिरतः संसिद्धिं लभते नरः. स्वभावनिरतः सिद्धिं यथा विन्दति तच्छृणु. So says Sri Krishna in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that everybody who does their own works, whatever their caste, creed, religion, language, whatever. Swe swe karmanya abhiratah. If one truly loves and does one's work 100%, then samsiddhim labhate. They'll definitely achieve success. This is the promise of both Gita as well as Bhaja Govindam. So the Pratham Dvitiya Shlokaha Karma Yogasya Krite. What we must do in the world. Samsara Kim Kurvita Prathama Udyoga. Everybody, when all our lives revolve around our Udyoga, our occupation. So how do we occupy our lives? We occupy it through Nija Karma is what the advice here given is. Any questions? Any comments so far? Please unmute and ask. Or if you want to remark or comment on something and add your own views, you're also most welcome to do so.
Here, when the person is, trying to learn to create karne, and of course, I do know the whole thing, but isn't it like discouraging? Supposing we are doing the same thing and we listen to it, and what is the use of studying grammar when your entire life is gone by? So isn't it sort of discouraging to others?
Very true. Sadhu eva prashnaha. Kintu asya uttaram kim samadhanam. Like I have told, Dukkum Karane is just a synecdoche. It's a symbol to say that stop doing your mundane activities when you know your death is close by. So it's not an objection or an attack on the Vyakarana study. It is not at all the. I mean, that Vyakarana point, Dukram Karana came because that Sandarbha was that Shankaracharya was meeting this person who was chanting the Vyakarana. He has nothing against Vyakarana. In fact, he has composed all his works, though he was a Malayali, in Samskritam. I mean, he is not opposed to Vyakarana, and you can read his works also. Each of his work are only in Samskritam. So it's not a point against Vyakarana. And more so, it's definitely not an attack on Samskrita Vyakarana. But what then is the intent there is what is the circumstance under which he is doing this Dukkan Karane? He is living in Kashi. Kashi, this Vyakarana is living in Kashi. He is almost inching towards his death. Is almost, let's say, 80, 85 or whatever. And he was by vritti, he was a Vyakarani, which means he made money through teaching or maybe explaining Vyakarana Sutras, and he was a Pandita of that. Now, because he was aging, he started forgetting all those sutras. So he still is making an effort to keep it afresh in his mind so that he can still again go and earn money. You see that? So that Dukrum Karane is not that he is learning it out of passion. If that is his passion, please go ahead. That's why he says Nija Karma Upatam Vittam. If you really think Vyakarana is your is your calling, then please do it, and whatever vitta you get, please enjoy your chitta is the second verse itself. It clarifies it. But then that person was doing this at an advanced age when he could have used whatever accumulated money, pension money, etc., towards more fruitful spiritual activities. So that is the intent there.
Astu avagatam. Dhanyavada.
Dhanyavada. Any other question? Please quickly ask. I mean, ask it with whatever time, but if you have a question, make it a point to ask right now. Otherwise, I will move on. अस्तु. अत्र तृतीयः श्लोकः प्रथमं कर्मयोगस्य विवृतम् अस्ति विवरणं. द्वितीयः श्लोकः कामस्य. So the theme of the Tritiya shloka is all about kama. Specifically, deha kama, the attraction towards a body. Male, female, whatever, trans, whatever your orientation could be. No judgment on that. But the kama, the very instinctive carnal desire for another body is the theme, the subject matter of the third shloka. While the first shloka, see, everybody will first start off earning. And after they earn well or they see their jobs are secure, what is the next instinctive desire? After money comes, then next is marriage. I mean, that is what society will say. But that marriage is just an institutionalized sex. It's an opportunity for institutionalized sex. Because I mean, the society doesn't want all these anarchical people sleeping around with everybody else. So to bring some system, some order into society, the marriage came up as a construct, a societal construct. I mean, that is just a very polite way of saying that these two people want to satisfy their biological needs. Whatever the case. But now the second attack, his first attack was on dhanagama, on the greed of wealth, and then the proper, career choice. And secondly, second attack that Adi Shankaracharya is making is on deha kama. He's not condemning it. Let's see what he says. Nari stanabhara nabhidesham drishtva maga mohavesham etanmamsavasadi vikaram manasi vichintaya varam varam. अतीव रम्यः श्लोक एषः किन्तु तथा एव it may gross us out because it's another very morbid idea which is saying यत् नारी स्तनभर नाभिदेशं दृष्ट्वा भवान् or त्वं मोहावेशं गमसे you are entering into a euphoria of mohavesha is a euphoric feeling of this orgasm with by looking at the spouses or the partners or someone else's bodies, the stana, bhara, and nabhi desha. Stana is of course bosoms, the chest, the breasts. Bhara is that breasts. Nabhi desham, the navel and other regions below it. Nabhi desham drishtva mohavesham magaha. Do not get into a euphoria or this orgasm of looking at the other, enchanted by the other's body. Why? Etan mamsa vasa adi vikaram iti varam varam manasi vichintaya. If you really want to, win over kama, सः वदति तर्हि एकमात्रमेव उपायः कः वारं वारं अगेन एंड अगेन पुनः पुनः एतत् शरीरम् एष देहः केवलं मांस वस मज्जा रक्त इत्यादि विकारम् एव इति मनसि पुनः पुनः चिन्तयतु इति तस्य प्रार्थना अस्ति अस्माकं देहाः though we will say, yeah, from soil and unto soil, we live as though we are living with bodies which are eternal and which are ever in its youth. But as we age, means we naturally don't have the libido as we would have had in our teens or maybe in adolescence or in our young adulthood. And as we age, all these hormones, which are just nature's bidding that it wants to do through us, will subside. Kintu, there is an avesha, there is a delusion that we live with that once we get the taste of orgasm, we want this again and again, punaha punaha, because we live quite boring lives, and so sex and masturbation or any other sexual release is the only way we find to be entertaining, something where we can lose ourselves completely and not think about anything else, even for at least a few minutes or seconds. But he says that is not going to help you. Kimartham? Because then you will enter into an avesha, moha. You will enter into a greater pit of moha, of delusion. Because yes, you will get all these enjoyments, these pleasures, which is not wrong. But then you will get caught up in relationships and the passion of relationships, whatever the case is. And then the consequences of it, either a marriage or a breakup, whatever the case is, will get into a unbreakable chain of things. So moha avesham magaha. So it's not saying don't get married or don't have any of these pleasures. It is only avesham magaha. Ma gacchatu ma prapnotu avesham. Don't have this feverish lust in you. He is saying to me, etat mamsa vasa adi vikaram iti manasi punaha punaha chintayatu. एतत् शरीरं मांस रक्तं रुधिरं Majja, Asthi, that is bones, Shukram, that is, you know, the secretions, the semen, the sweat, and all of this is what this body is. If you can bring to your mind at that very moment of passion, then it will subside. Etat mamsa vasadi vikaram iti punaha punaha chintayatu. And he knows that it is very hard. That is why he says varam varam, again and again. We may fail many times in our attempts, but we should still keep trying this, is what Adi Shankaracharya here is suggesting to us. Uh, because then, see, we naturally get grossed out when we look. I mean, nobody in the medical examining room will ever get aroused. When you see the body for what it truly is beyond the skin and all the layers, and then there's absolutely no chance that one would be aroused by it. So then, it's not against arousal, it's only against the consequences of getting addicted to arousal. So, that is what the Tritiyaha Shlokaha. Naris. And once again, this is not a misogynistic statement because, I mean, that this fellow was a man, so it was assumed that he would like a woman. Therefore, the term Nari Stanabhara. I mean, if it is for a man, it may be Nara Stanabhara, etc. Nari Stanabhara Nabhidesham Drishtva Maga Mohavesham Etan Mamsavasadi Vikaram Manasi Vichintaya Varam Varam. प्रश्नाः यदि सन्ति स्युः।
Being a brahmachari, saying so in this verse, would have required a lot of courage. That's what I feel.
Satyam, Samichinam. Lot of, exactly, you put it really well, Arya. Yeah, it requires a lot of courage to take up brahmacharya.
Yeah.
Very true.
Thank you.
Dhanyavad. Thank you for all this. This is a very important point. This is, yeah, I can say this shloka is about brahmacharya. अग्रे अत्र जीवनस्य जीवनस्य तरलता का चपलता, the uncertainty of life is described अस्मिन् चतुर्थे श्लोके. नलिनी दलगत जलमति तरलम तद्वज्जीवितम अतिशय चपलम विद्धि व्याध्यभिमानग्रस्तं लोकं शोकहतं च समस्तं. One other, each verse is getting more morbid and more serious and dense as we progress. Where here it is telling, see, once, if you look at it in a very hilarious way, first sloka said, choose properly, don't hanker after money. Second sloka said, don't hanker after lust too much. And then the fourth sloka is telling, look at people around you, they are all in grief. Shoka hatam, they are all sad, they are all depressed, and they are all in grief. And you alone are thinking you will live forever and enjoy all your pleasures. All of these pleasures will keep you happy all throughout. You have made all your proper arrangements in life. You've secured everything and insured everything. So now you're in abhimana. You are in an intoxication, a high of ego, of pride. But wait until Vyadhi and other things hit you, and you will also become one of the other people people around you who are also now depressed and crippled by shoka, by sorrow. So it says, Nalini dalagata jalam atitaralam. Nalini, artha? Who knows what is Nalini? Nalini padasya arthah kaha?
Is it lotus?
Samichinam, uttamam. It is a lotus. Nalini, nala ityukte stem. Now, because it has a very slender stem, it's called Nalini. Pushpam yasya nalam samichinam asti tad Nalini iti. Nalini dala. There is a drop of water on the leaf, the petal. Nalini dala gata jalam. How is it? Because it is swayed by the winds. the pushpa also will get swayed by the winds. The jala thinks it is very secure. Oh, I'm so happy that I am unlike my brothers and sisters who are in this swamp. I have made it to the surface of the lotus. But it will soon realize that it is very temporary, it's very ephemeral, very transient, because sooner or later the leaf is going to bend and the flower is going to shake. And when it does so, that jala bindu will again fall back into the pit, the swamp. So, Nalini Dalagata Jalam Ati Taralam. Tarala is which sways, which is very uncertain. Ati Taralam Tadvat, just as that. Tatha eva Asmakam Jeevitam api, Asmakam Jeevanam api, Atishaya Chapalam. Atishaya is extraordinarily, it is uncertain. Chapalam, we got, I mean, who knew we would be hit by COVID and the entire world would be in a lockdown, right? That is one big example of how uncertain our lives can be. Atishaya Chapalam, Tarhi, no, so okay, our lives are uncertain. So what? Vidhi, please understand, Janatu, Kim, Vyadhi Abhimanagrastam Lokam, Samastam Lokam Api Shokahatam Asti. यद्यपि लोके अभिमानग्रस्तं भवेत्, there are people who may be clasping onto their egos, their identities. Abhimana grasta. Grasta is to clasp, clutch. They're using it as their anchor in their lives. Kintu, that is like a vyadhi. It's like a disease. You're holding on to a disease. Vyadhi abhimana grastam lokam, किंतु समस्तं लोकमपि अधुना श्वः वा परश्वः प्रपरश्वः आगामि संवत्सरे वा भवतु निश्चयेन शोकहतमेव भवति. It is bound, it is destined to go through a sorrow sooner or later. Tarhi, why this abhimana? Why is this disease of, what is a disease? You know, once a disease hits us, we get all our focus of our life come only on that disease. So just as we go through a bout of pride and identity and we feel elated, we are on a high when all things are going well, we are successful, etc. Saha vyadhihi, saha eva rogaha, यत्र सर्वमपि अस्माकम् अवधानम् अन्यत्र कुत्रचिदपि न भवति, केवलम् अस्मदुपरि. It will be focused, it will be completely self-centered. So all that focus is now on the self, and it's not the right self, it is on the ego to protect our identity. Kintu, so that identity, the pride of this jalabindu which is sitting on the leaf, that it has made up so, I mean, it has made it in life, it got evaporated, it struggled, it came up and it is sitting on the lotus. Kintu संसारस्य रीतिः एव एषः यत् श्वः परश्वः अधुना वा तत् पुष्पं कम्पते एव. It will definitely wither, or it will definitely waver. And तर्हि अस्माकं जीवनं पतितुं शक्यते. अर्जुनः एव धनुर्धारी आसीत्, समस्त धनुर्वेदा पारंगतः सन्नपि यदा युद्धं भवेत् तदा तस्य मनः एव रोदिति, तस्य मनः एव शोकग्रस्तं भवति. तथा शोकहतं समस्तं लोकमस्ति इति एषः श्लोकः वदति. प्रश्नाः, अभिप्रायाः सूचयन्तु यदि सन्ति. Please do interact in the class. It is most useful for me to hear the wisdom or your messages and your understanding of these shlokas. You can always add, subtract, or disagree or agree with these statements. One need not always agree with everything said.
महोदय एकः प्रश्नः अस्ति.
पृच्छतु.
So here, when things are going fine, we are very happy. I mean, in our status in financial and other aspects. But when things go wrong, we suddenly ask, why me?
Satyam.
So, is it the way in which we live our life to be, let's say, completely live the life in a way which is without the rasa. Because samsara, we get so many types of emotions. So here, when you say, okay, we have to be dejected of all the, let's say, worldly affairs, pleasures and pain. So should we live a life like a sannyasi? Is it what?
समीचीनः प्रश्न एव. I don't have an answer because I also have the same question. I mean, let's see if any others in the group can answer that. अन्ये विद्यार्थिनः, अन्ये छात्राः. Yes.
Why me? Suppose something bad happens in our family or something. We are concentrated over that particular problem, that particular disease. Why not others? Because others are more, let's say, tamasic and let's say they are more bad than me. But still, it is happening to me. I have more qualifications. So when we say why me, what do you have an idea of how should we deal with this?
Satyam. It's a very excellent question. I mean, it's a very nice comparison you made. Just as when we get affected by a disease, we will say, okay, why did I only get this disease? And we fail to notice people around. Yeah, it's a very self-centered. But I mean, a man who is in ailment, it's very hard for him to even take compassion with other fellow people who are even suffering, who may be suffering the same ailment or something much more severe. At that moment of the disease, he is all about me. I have to get healed. Oh, I shouldn't have so much pain in this surgery and all that. Correct. It's very hard to expect a person like that to think about others. Yeah, you make a sound point. I don't know. Maybe noticing. So he says, Vidhi, understand. He says, understand that Lokameva shokahatam. The entire loka, samastam lokam, the entire loka is suffering. And it is not only me that is suffering, this abhimana, or going through this turmoil. But how exactly we must look at others? You're right in that when we are hit with our troubles, we feel our troubles to be the biggest turmoil ever in our universe. So, what is the way out? Maybe that is why the understanding that life itself is uncertain may help a little. That yes, um, I may be, for this moment, I may have come as that Bindu sitting on the Nalini Dara, but at any moment I may fall. So that brings humility, one. Secondly, even if I am in the swamp, I have the hope that someday that evaporation will help me go back onto that lotus. So maybe that is one thing. But you can also tell me, how do you deal with it?
I mean, I just take it as a positive thing that, let's say, happened to me because it gives a time to think, okay, now it has happened with me. Let's just analyze what was the starting point of it. I'm not sure. I don't have an answer, but maybe someone else can put forward their experience with it.
Right. Very true. I mean, that is a very nice thing to step back and sit with it and analyze what went wrong, why I enacted this. It's a very intellectual, very fulfilling way of doing things. That's true. Anybody else would like to answer? Please pitch in. Feel free. We are not strangers. The whole world is one family. So we are all brothers and sisters in this journey. Nobody is a siddha here. At least I am not. So please pitch in and answer his question also.
To me, it is like be cautious, think before you do anything, because every action is going to bring back. It's like the Newton's third law. Every action has a reaction. So whatever you do is going to rebound and come back to you, maybe as good karma or the bad karma. And when something befalls, some misfortune befalls, then I take it that yes, I have done something in my previous janma, or even maybe in this janma itself. Why the previous janma? In this janma itself, I have done. I would have done so many things, thinking this is right, but that might not have been right at that moment. Within that awareness, like how you said, you sit and you introspect. Only then you realize, yes, I have done something wrong. Maybe I should not have done it. Maybe I shouldn't have said this. So that comes much, much later in life. So when something comes, that is a lesson for us to learn that we have done something and therefore this is the consequence. And also to be careful in the future, not to repeat the same thing. So if we are careful of our actions, I think much of this could be avoided. Thank you. That's my this one.
Samichinam, Satyam. Mohita, Mahodaya, shall we go forward?
Usachi is one. I guess she has raised her hand.
Okay, now one thing is I'm not able to see the screen, so I will not know people who has raised their hand. Please unmute and directly speak. Because if I don't know, I mean, I'm not very tech savvy. So if I go back, I don't know how to put back all of these things together. So please just ask your questions directly. And also tell your name well, yeah.
This is Usha. I would like to thank Bhaja to you for choosing Bhaja Govindam on such an auspicious day this afternoon. I don't know if some performance tomorrow. It's very like it's up to 11. And their explanation was very nice and very flexible. I just had some other activities going on and I started doing the puja. So I saw your and it was really good person. So and also your explanation of the sun and it comes to the notice that like this Bhaja is saransh of Samskrta and also the Vedas says get detached. Look into Bhaja, which is actually different for you. That's why they say specifically that Santa Kudarati Kunam Kudarati Karanam. And the other one is Satsang is saying is Sangatram. So that's how do you go out of this Satsanga? Find the Satsanga where even if you, I mean, this is my personal experience also. One of the time where I was totally alone. In a sense, I had people around, but there was no one to get connected with what I was undergoing. And also, I just prayed Bhagwan and saying that, like, okay, this is happening from generation to generation. How to get very disconnected and into that the future generation, current generation will not fall into similar trap of harassment. You can say that way. And also, it just flashed in such a way that I say, even if I don't know this part, I'm in a satsanga, they will pull me and then make me part of the crowd or with the satsanga and then take me to the path. This is my personal experience of it. And of course, when we get into the satsanga, of course, they are also not perfect. They also have like some ideas and stuff like that. But somewhere the good direction is to take a step by step way. So it goes in that direction and later on you get detached, mysteriously. Mysteriously you don't expect. You don't want anything else except what you want to do, that you see in this path of your life. And when you have not done you're out of all those practices and you're happy to receive what you have, what you get. And about the karma, what this one karma, like action and the reaction. And one of the things what I read somewhere is the thought. Thought is the seed of an action. If the thought itself is corrected, then there is no action, there is no reaction. Or otherwise, corrected thought, corrected action, and this reaction, of course. If you are one of the home persons like that, whatever karma you do, don't face it like you just say Istarpanamasti. He will do the checks and balances so that there is no Punya karma, basically, Hara Papa karma, basically, which is anything to attain this time, not this karma. This is what is understanding.
Very.
It's a summarizing two standards of all literature.
Satyam, Satyam. Very true. Bahuttamam, Samichinam, Dhanyavadaha. This was a very nice summary of all, like you said, of karma, as well as when you say when corrected thought leads to corrected action, and that is actually a very important, significant, wisdom, because then it is telling us that because our actions are springing, like you said, from our thoughts, then correcting it at the initial stage, nipping it in the bud, as they say, would prevent much bad consequences from happening. Yeah, very true. Anybody else wants to pitch in? Like I'm saying, I am not able to see the participants window. So if you're raising hand, then please do not do it. Just unmute and speak up. Astu. Let's move forward. Agre Sarama. Panchamaha shlokaha. So now you see, just to summarize quickly, it attacked our greed. Secondly, lust. Third was certainty and a delusional certainty of life. Fourth is, so certainty breeds an ego, a pride, right? Because everything is going fine, everything will remain this way is what the assumption is. So that is the pride. So it attacked the pride. Fifth one is attacking our sense of social security, of social belongingness. That's why we have all friends, family, parents, siblings, children. We breed children to have ourselves being taken care of, at least with the hope of it. Or, we have a good network of friends. We spend time, we invest time, all of this. It's not wrong, but we keep doing this. I mean, every creature does it. Every creature wants a colony, it wants a group to live with it. No one creature can live independently. I mean, even plants, in fact, there's a symbiosis between many other species and other trees also. So it is how every organism is. It's not attacking that biological nature of it, but it is only pointing to us out that it is that case, that you're not doing anything very special by having a network of relatives and friends and all this, but it's also going to be ephemeral. So go with that understanding is what, again, it's an eye-opener for us. The moha mudgara is hammering it every time. It is breaking the delusion of certainty, of misplaced trust, of misplaced investment of our egos, misplaced investment of our energies in things. Because in that way, like ma'am said, like Usha Arya said, if you can nip it in the bud itself, then there is no delusion, there is no heightened consequence. There will be a consequence, but now since you are already in a place of wisdom, you will take it lightly. You will not be too attached, not too suffered because of that, of those actions. So it's second, the fifth one is still talking about parivaraha. It's talking about parivara. What is it saying? Parivara. Kutumbakam. Kim यावद्वित्तोपार्जनसक्तः तावन्निजपरिवारो रक्तः पश्चाज्जीवति जर्जरदेहे वार्तां कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे. यावत् कालं वित्त उपार्जनसक्तः भवति मनुष्यः, तावत् कालं तस्य स्वस्य परिवारः, स्वस्य कुटुम्बं, स्वस्य स्नेहिताः, मित्राणि, उद्योगबान्धवाः, रक्तबान्धवाः अपि भवन्ति. यावत्पर्यन्तं सः आर्जनसक्तः, वित्त, as long as he or she can bring money or some value to the table, वित्त आर्जनसक्तः, तावत् निज परिवारः रक्तः. Only so long will all this parivara is a term which encapsulates all our networks, all connections. Parivaraha, it literally means parivaryate iti parivaraha, that which surrounds us. Parivaraha raktaha, it will be interested. Paschat तदनन्तरं किं भवति, यथा कालः अपगच्छति, यथा कालः क्षीयते तदा अस्माकं देहः अपि जर्जरो भवति. जर्जरः अर्थात् क्षितबलं भवति. It will be without strength. It will be jarjar. It will be aged. It will go through many modifications, and not the good modifications. It will go through all the inevitable modifications of the body, where we lose strength both mentally and physically. जर्जरदेहे तदा किं भवति? तदा गेहे, तदा गृहे कोऽपि वार्तां न पृच्छति. यद्यपि यावत् जीवनं शक्तिवन्तम् आसीत्, तावत् पर्यन्तं वयमपि सर्वैः सह सम्भाषणं कुर्मः. अन्येपि अस्माकं परिवारम् आगच्छन्ति, अस्माकं गृहम् आगच्छन्ति, वयं गच्छामः, तैः सह आनन्दं कुर्मः, तैः सह सम्भाषणं विनोदनं च कुर्मः. किन्तु यदा वित्तमेव नास्ति, तर्हि किं स्नेहितं, कः परिवारः भवति खलु? तथा एव अस्माकं देहः यदा क्षीयते, जर्जरितं भवति, तदा वित्तमपि क्षितं भवति. यद्यपि वित्तम् अस्यात्, इवन इफ यू डू हैव वेल्थ इन आवर ओल्ड एज, स्टिल वार्तां कोऽपि न पृच्छति. तदा शक्तिरेव नास्ति सम्भाषितुं, विनोदयितुम् अथवा अन्यस्मै सहायं कर्तुं. So all creatures, they bond with others with the expectation of a sahaya, of some future help, or some future aid, thinking that there will be some value which will come from the other person. It could be monetary or emotional, whatever the case. Some value will be expected. That is how all relationships are. I mean, there cannot be a relationship without expectation. So, paschat jivati jarjara dehe, and then one cannot fulfill those expectations, or when one does not have much time in the future to either help somebody else, then vartam kopi na pritchati. Kopi, nobody will even ask of your whereabouts. Vartam kopi, how are you? I'm fine. Even that conversations may not happen, is what the purport of this shloka is. Tell me if you do agree. And this is a very important thing, because then our parivara, we understand through this shloka, is a consequence of samajam, and then of biology, because all organisms they're interdependent. Then apeksha, there is an expectation component to parivara, all sambandha. Then there is an expectation of what? Of vitta. It literally need not mean just money, but some value. Some value is expected. So it is a future-bound system of human interaction. It's a future-oriented system of interaction. And then there is age. So as long as there is strength in the body, which basically connects with the value. So some strength, some time which you can give for others, and some money also is needed. There's at least while in young adulthood, we go on dates, right? So we need good money to spend on all these very expensive, seemingly unaffordable cafes and all this. Why? It's a samajic thing. It's a social thing. We need money, we need time to spend and to interact, and there is a common purpose. So what do all these parivaras do when they get together for either functions, occasions? Some time must be spent together, some common time. So this is the entire brain map of a parivara, of a network. All of this is implied through just one shloka. See the beauty of this. So even if one component is not there, then vartam na kopi prichati, then there is no parivara, there is no one to even ask of your whereabouts, of my whereabouts. So that is how parivaras operate, is the wisdom panchama shlokaha dadati, etat bodhayati. Abhiprayah?
Mahoday, Bhavan, where do you keep love in this, let's say, whole chakra? Do we have love in parivar, or we are just a exchange medium? I mean, if you talk about bhatta and it's love towards God. We don't see any Vitta, Apeksha, biology, or Samaja. So do we have a, let's say, a place for love of relationship in this thing? What's your opinion, sir?
First, you tell me your opinion. What do you think? Is it there?
I mean, I feel like we, if in present context, we do love our family. I mean, at the very least, our parents. So we do whatever we do without any sort, sir. So, I mean,
that is true. I mean, we assume this that we do love our family selflessly. I mean, I'm not commenting on any particular family as such, but this is my observation that यदि अस्माकं सुगुणितवन्तौ मातापितरौ स्यातां तर्ह्येव अस्माकमपि निस्वार्थता भवति तेषां कृते. So only when the parents have been good to us, at least they haven't hit us, they haven't, they have given us a good, to the best of their abilities, when the intention at least was to nourish us, then we also have this very natural love towards them. But if, let's say, let's do this mental thought experiment that there's a kid who was beaten, who was or at least reprimanded, and he or she had a very toxic upbringing. Would that person would have the same amount of love towards his or her parents? My surmise is he or she will not have, because it is. I mean, the entire biological system of that person itself will get afraid. It will go into an anxious mode. Every gathering when it has to meet the parents, sometimes they are traumatized. The children are traumatized. I mean, there's this movie of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlada, right? We were just discussing, but that is an exception because he still loved his father because he was a bhakta, and you're right in bringing this point up. But in most cases, the children, if they didn't have a good upbringing, would not be well disposed towards their family, is what I think. You can correct me if I'm wrong, and you can give me your views too. उच्चैः वदतु, उच्चैः भाषतां, न श्रूयते. Ma'am, you'll have to speak up a little louder or closer to the mic, to your laptop or mobile.
Dr. Prahlada, yeah, the environment or the circumstances, and also if we are exposed to kind of a person with near and dear one people, how they started life, what affected them to become a good or a bad, in all kind of circumstances, they defend the values or they just went by the situation and then it became bad or something like that. How did inclination, even any child can also change and with their own identity, independent of the age.
Satyam.
Because in a particular family, there can be who are two children, they have the same parents, and maybe they are treated in a different way. But that situation might have a different impact on the children. Nature action, and they always can change. I mean, after 18 years, or something about our age where they can change certain actions and results, they can always start their exit.
Satyam. That's also true. Satyam. Dhanyawada. So the purpose of this shlokas is to make us contemplate, like just as what we are doing right now. It's not that it's demeaning parivara, it's also not supporting it. So it's opening the channel. It's like a food for thought. We have to look at parivara in a more holistic and brutally honest way for what it is, at least to ourselves. We should think what it is. I mean, I also have a similar question which Mohit Varya asked, love towards our parents, and I would actually put it around and say sometimes there are parents who love their children even if they are disabled, they gave birth to the child, and they cannot definitely expect this child would ever help them in their retired life or whatever. But still, there are some parents who would offer selfless service to it. So would that count as love? I mean, that would be what his definition of love he is referring to. And yeah, like I said, there's this example of Prahlada also, which both of you mentioned. So there can be exceptional love cases where, despite harm being done to us, or despite there not being any value added to us, there may be we may still have a network.
I have one point. Sorry to.
Yes, please do. But please speak a little loud. I'm not able to hear. I don't know if it is only the problem on my end.
My mobile problem.
Okay.
It's not clear. Whatever Mahodaya is saying is not very clear.
Okay.
It's we can hear that she's speaking, but half of it is lost. I don't.
Okay. Please speak closer, Arya.
Yeah, I'll try. Is it okay now?
Yes, now it is better.
Yeah, quite almost near. Like its mobile is near the mouth.
Okay.
So coming to the point, there are two things. Like a child or a parent can unconditionally, without expectation, or they can't be expected anything out of them. It's because of the sense of kartavya. Kartavya is different from affection and vyamoha. Kartavya, moha, vyamoha. I don't know. I'm still searching for the definition of prema or preeti. Vatsalya is totally understandable. So unconditional, and the word love is can be a lot of interpretation or a perception for that. So Prahlada, he did his duty as a son, and also Karuna. He wanted his father also come out of that particular situation and be Vishnu's Bhakta, and also come out of that moha, the ahankar, that he is greater than the creator. So by doing that, he is doing his this one as son, Dharma Marga, and walking in Dharma Marga, and also because he has concern as a son, he wants his father also follow that Dharma Marga.
Satyam.
So if you take this one, what is it? Dhritarashtra, his blindness is symbolic of his Yamaha also.
Satyam.
So that is preeti beyond, Vatsalya beyond certain conditions of Yamaha. And his greed also, he wanted to ensure that his greed is fulfilled through his son. So there's a fine thin layer between, line between kartavya, vatsalya, and unconditional this one.
Satyam.
So a parent can be taken care of, specially abled because of kartavya. It will not be Java or
Satyam. Correct. All these are very important keywords, correct? Because they often come up in discussion. And they also, like you said, there's a very fine line between how much is love, how much is affection. Yeah. But then, what do you say, Arya? How do you then, personally, how will you differentiate between Vyamoha and Prema? How would you call Dhritarashtra's love as Vyamoha, and how would you call, let's say Kunti or someone else's love as, no, it's just Prema?
Okay. We can take Mahabharata for that instance, and also Ramayana for that instance. Dharma and Moha and Vyamoha. When we take this one, Dhritarashtra, and he knew that Krishna is, and also this one is justified in their aspect, Pandavas. He knew that there is going to be destruction if they are going to get killed. But he's ready to see the destruction for the sake of acquiring something which is impossible. So there the Samskrta dharma. Like we can take even our instance itself, we are in our own life. Let's take somebody is like having consuming certain things beyond a certain this one, like limit. It is harmful for their life and their near and dearer ones. But you are consuming anything like oily stuff or spicy stuff or otherwise anything. But it is within the limit and it is it's a healthy. So it's fine. So that there comes the wisdom. So if we are not allowing ourselves to be slave of Indriyas and slave of our Arishat Varga, that's the thing. That's the fine line.
Samishina Uttama.
Pandavas, though they were deprived, every time they were being snatched out of their opportunities, they were, they were killed, almost killed in many instances, but still, they listened to Krishna. Of course, they were not beyond any Arishit Vargas. When Draupadi was tested and she fell faster, she died in the Sargarohana. What came behind Dharmaraya was only the last one to, walk and a dog, which is actually a representation of the Dharma, follow him. This is how we can take an instances and how we can try to inculcate as much as possible whenever we are, in a dilemma, what to do, what not to do.
Satyam. Dhanyawada. Bahuttamam. This is very valuable. This discussion is really taking a lot of important tangents and a lot of intricate wisdom, interconnected wisdom is getting churned out, at least for me. Astu. Now let's look at the Agrimah Shlokaha. Yatra Parivaraha Charchitaha Idanim Bhartrbharya Sambandhaha. That is, the husband and the wife. You can just take it as any two partners, whatever their genders, etc., orientation, etc. Kalatram. Let's say a spouse, whatever, business partner, marriage partner, whatever, life partner, so on. What is the wisdom about this? Let's see. Yavat pavano nivasati dehe tavat pritchati kushalam gehe gatavati vayo deha paye bharya bibhyati tasmin kaye. Yavat pavanaha, yavat vayuhu, yavat pranaha dehe nivasati. As long as there is life breath, there is vital energy is intact in the body, tavat gehe, tavat grihe, grihini athva grihapatihi kushalam prichhati. They ask the whereabouts and well-being and they have all this chit-chat. Tavat prichhati. Means they have this sambandha going on. Kintu vayo gatavati. This is a sati saptami prayoga in Samskrta, which means when the air, that is when the breath has left the body, gatavati vayo, deha apaye, deha apaya in sort of any danger or towards the end of it, towards the end of the body or towards the end of when the deha is in some danger, yada vayuhu gacchati tada tasmin sharire, tasmin kaye bharya api bibhyati. Bharya, the wife, or in a general case, the spouse, husband or wife or whatever, partner, bibhyati. Bharyaha api bibhyati. Even the wives, the partners, even the husbands, they will get afraid of even touching the body. As soon as there is a death in the house, you will say the body has come, the body has gone, let's cremate the body. So the body, the Antima Darshana of the body is there, the Vaikuntha Samaradhana on this day of the body and all this. So this is now linking how, in a way connects to the previous point, what we think as the most sacred, most intimate relationship, which is of a spouse, most intimacy of a partnership, how that can be challenged and questioned with just death, with grief. So it links all these ideas together. When there is bereavement in the family, then what will happen? Then bharyaha, partners, kalatrani api husbands wives patayah api bibhyati te bhayam prapnuvanti tasmin kaye. Arthat, so the question it is trying to ask is tesham आश्रयः तेषां प्रेमस्य आश्रयः देहः आसीत् वा मनः आसीत् वा किं तेषाम् आत्मा आसीत् तेषां जीवात्मा आसीत् वा इति सः प्रश्नः. Was there allegiance, was there association with the body, with the mind, or with the soul, or something else? So why? Because as soon as the body has the pranas has left the body, then there's an immediate end of the relationship, correct? Because the person is no longer active. So there's no possibility of a future interaction with this person. He has gone unresponsive. So then what will happen? All the partners, business partners, marriage partners, all of them, all those relationships are now being threatened by this death. And so all of them will get scared. It's just a comedic way, a tragic way of putting it, but it's that they will no longer even go along with you to your wherever you're going, the soul is going. Which means, exception maybe like Sati Savitri and all such examples, but in most cases, even and a very interesting story was of the Buddha. When I don't think it is Buddha, but it may have been Allama Prabhu or someone else. There is one person, the husband comes and says, I'm doing so well in life. I mean, I love my family. They all love me. They all cherish me. They adore me. My wife adores me. I have all these lovable children, very cute little children. They're also very supportive of me and all that. Then the Rama Prabhu says, okay, is it so? Okay, I mean, I would love to meet all of these great souls. So he takes them home. And then he says, okay, now before entering your home, you do one thing. You go home and lie on the bed, and you act as if you have dead. I mean, you have died. That you just lie still, and maybe rehearse a heart attack, and then lie still. Let's see what happens, and then you will actually see the true faces of these people. And then so he does that, and he's quite purpose. He says, "Oh, of course not. I mean, they would all love me, and they'll try their best to revive me and all that." And then he goes. He's from a very affluent family, very opulent, and now he goes and he performs. He enacts that scene. He collapses on the ground. Tada! First question the children ask is, "Oh, I mean, they all weep for a while, and then." Uh, he did not write a will for us. So now they start talking about to whom will the property go, right? And then the wife pitches in. I mean, it's not again anything misogynistic. I'm just saying this is just story. She says, "Okay, my husband has died. Now, which of you sons and daughters will take care of me?" You see that? So this was the scene which happened, and then he was quite perplexed, and then they took him to the funeral. I mean, to the cremation grounds. They put him on a wood, and they bought the cheapest wood possible because he was too rich, and they didn't want to spend too much money on this cremation. So they bought the cheapest wood, and they placed him. They were about to light the fire when this Alama Prabhu comes back and says, "Now just get up." Maybe his name is Devadatta. Devadatta, उत्तिष्ठतु इदानीं पश्यतु वदतु एते भवन्तः बान्धवाः वा इति एते एव भवतां प्रेमिणः बान्धवाः वा इति सः पृच्छति. So then he also realizes, and then the story goes to say he gives all of that up and he goes and takes up sannyasa. Anyway, that is a story which goes on to say the essence there is how with death, yes, there is a certain bereavement and emotional loss, but is that emotional loss genuinely because the other person is now no longer there, or is the foundation of that relationship because I was lonely, I wanted company, or is there another self-interest to it, maybe property, maybe some material gain, or emotional backing, emotional support? So what was the cause of that relationship, right? So that is what the shloka asks us to ponder about. Why am I having this relationship? What is lacking in me, or if not lacking, why am I having this relationship? Is it out of my own fulfillment, or I want something from the other person. Again, it ties back to the previous shloka. Again, this is not something bad about the wife. I'm just saying it may have happened very easily with the husband. I mean, maybe if the wife had died, the husband would have immediately asked, "Who will be my next wife?" And he would have gotten remarried or so on. So there is a loss of the person, and there is an inconvenience in our lives because of that person, because that person is no longer present. So whatever value we derived, either emotional support, loneliness, I mean, companionship for loneliness, etc., is now lost. So it's an inconvenience. Yes, there is certain grief. Sometimes people even project that grief and they act as if they are crying. Sometimes maybe it may be genuine, sometimes it may not be. So this question, this shloka is putting forth is there a relationship with me or with the value again of me being a living creature which I'm bringing to the table? What do you guys think? How would you look at this question?
Can you repeat the question, please, again? What did you say last, just now?
So the question this shloka is trying to put forth is the relationship I had, is it with me or is it because I as a living creature was bringing some value to the table? So when they grieve even my death, are they grieving my value that they lost because they wanted that value in their lives, which was what I was giving and exchanging with them? Or is it that they actually will grieve my true essence being lost to them? So, what is the foundation of our relationship? Is it, again, is it some emotional support, emotional convenience, or whatever, material opulence, etc.? That is the question.
Well, I feel the foundation of all relationships are emotions themselves. So, and these emotions have to do with the indriyas. So you take the example of maybe love, anger, or fear. All this is, like how you said, there's a very fine line which distinguishes one from the other. But mostly it is because of all these indriyas that the relationships exist and move and strive and then come to an end. So if we were to be calm, if we were to be detached, and if we were to be unemotional, then we would view the relationships in a different perspective altogether. See, the loss, the bereavement, like how you said in the previous shloka, talking about the love, and then the example of this family, Devadatta and Allama Prabhu. In actual life also, I happened to hear of an incident where the wife kept on telling, whenever people come for a movie, come out to enjoy on a 2-day trip or a week trip, she kept on telling, no, my family will suffer, my husband will suffer, he cannot do anything without me, he doesn't know to do this, doesn't know to do that, all that. So throughout her life, she didn't enjoy anything, and then she died. So her close friend who was a witness to all this, after 6 months happened to see that man who lost his wife, and she asked, how are you doing? He said, okay, fine, everything is settled, we have got a cook, we have hired a cook to do the cooking, all that, we are everything is fine, we are comfortable, life is going on.
Wow. So that is a big thing. Yeah.
So you see, this lady was under the impression that my husband is dependent on me, he cannot do anything without me, what will he do? So I have to be there to serve him all throughout. And later on, when the interaction with the man revealed that life goes on as usual. So ultimately, the takeaway is to understand that change is the only permanent thing, and we have to accept it without any drama. But then that does not happen because of our manaha, which is chanchala, and our indriyas, which we are able to not control, and which is why we are trying to do sadhana, be in satsang, and be whatever, so that we can achieve or strive for this mukti or moksha from all this. This is my thinking. Thank you. Dhanyavada.
Samishinam. I mean, this is really, really spectacular, Uttama. So you're saying, and we just write it on the board. So you're saying the indriyas are driven by self-interest and not spending time on moksha or an ulterior goal. a bigger goal. And
throughout our life, we keep thinking this is the purpose of goal of my life. This is the purpose of goal of my. So it is like, in the beginning, parents thrust their desires also sometimes manifested, sometimes unmanifested. So you become an engineer, you study for an astronaut, you become this, you become that. It's not the child who's without any saying, child in an environment of its own, and you will see the child to be something totally different. But then it is everything, you are bound by so many things which are thrust upon you knowingly, unknowingly, and then you yourself get influenced by something. So all this has to do with the indriyas only, and then you're going one after the other, thinking that is this is the purpose, this is the real goal of life, all that. And ultimately, when you are at the fag end of your life, that's when you realize, what is life after all. And then, but then by that time, you have lost much of your journey, running after this frivolous things, and then you are not concentrated more towards your inner self, realizing your own inner self, and going towards mukti. We have somewhere lost, and then we come back to it at the end. That is what that's my thinking, absolutely, and not saying this is the ultimatum or this is the ultimate truth, but that's my thinking, that's my journey.
Beautiful. Ativa Jnanapradam. What do the others say? Do you agree, disagree? You can freely agree or disagree, please. There is no force. Please speak up. Please speak up close to the mic, ma'am. We're very sorry to keep repeating this. Please speak up close.
Yes, ma'am. Is it better now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I totally agree with Yamini ji. That is the root cause for all this relations, and how they are attached, and how they forget once the soul, otherwise Atma departs. But the point actually, generally speaking, to say everything is materialistic. That is what is the moha, right? In this Bhaja says, we are in the moha world and we are in the maya world. So that's actually, it's a driving force altogether. If we just, we recollect ourselves after our grandparents died, we just remember their affections, but what is that really our elders, our parents, our different. That's all, our life goes on. But how do we want ourselves to be remembered or be this one? That is Niswartha Jiva, that's very difficult. And one more point just flashed to me is the affection or the pure love. It is definitely from the Bhagavan. He doesn't expect anything from us, but he's always protecting us. On the other hand, if you just, totally say that I'm cornered, Bhagavan, I don't know anything, but I don't want to take a wrong path. I don't have any other path options when I'm cornered. He will send one or the other form, like how Natsimar, like even any form he comes and that helps in the human form or anything, we'll get a help. That's all. That's what I think it is a Niswartha Prema. And like it's very difficult as a human being to follow that. But rest speaking, most of the relations are like bound by, of course, some karma, some like debts and credit we have, so we get related. And the real Bandhu definitely is Bandhavan Shiva Bhaktascha.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I want to.
Like how we are all connected. What is our relation? It's all through Bhagwan. He has this brought to us. Link. So that is the one thing. So rest everything is like materialistic. You don't give something to our children, they're like they want. And even if you give calm, wave, all the stuff, doesn't work. So it's so materialistic, and then they might say that, oh yeah, that's my parents' wedding gift. And also we ourselves, like including we may not done that using our wisdom, but this is what it is in the relation. everything is transactional. Dhanyawad.
Transactional. That's a very powerful word. अपि च अन्यः यदि कश्चन अभिप्रयति, anybody else wants to opine? Really splendid wisdom. Astu. Tarhi, we'll stop here. इदानीं समयः अतीतः, 3:00 श्वः न अग्रिमकक्ष्या प्रायः अहं ग्रूप् मध्ये स्थापयामि कदा भवति इति। प्रायः अग्रिमे शनिवासरे अथवा श्वः भानुवासरे अपि शक्यते चेत् अहं वदिष्यामि ग्रूप् मध्ये। ये आसक्ताः ते जायिन् कर्तुं शक्नुवन्ति, ते योजितुं शक्नुवन्ति। एवमेव परस्परं ज्ञान अभिवृद्धिः भवेत्। केवलम् एकः शिक्षकः न पाठयेत्, न वा छात्राः निद्रान्तु, तथा भवेत्। अतः परस्परं वयं सर्वेपि अत्र साधका एव, सिद्धाः न कोऽपि अत्र वर्तेत. If you are a Siddha, mean you are wasting your time coming here and sitting through the class. So we are all sadhakas on the journey at different levels, different advanced levels. Some are advanced, I myself may not be so much. But so let's all discuss together and understand each of these shlokas really well. It would be a very nice self-exploring journey. So I extend my hearty invitation to all of you, and you can tell your friends if they're interested to join this. Astu. Dhanyavadaha. Namaste.
Dhanyawad.
Dhanyawadaha. Enjoyed the session thoroughly. Thank you. Dhanyawadaha.
Dhanyavadaha.
Dhanyawadaha.
Dhanyavadaha.
Dhanyawadaha.
Dhanyavadaha.